Hey guys, I hope you liked that random little intro where I showed you the mess I have going on because of my move and everything. Right now, I'm just putting in my cards like I usually do for my Project Life videos, if you've seen them before, and deciding where I want to put everything, basically. That one card I just put in that's basically completely done already, which is nice. That was from one of my Project Life Mixed Media Tips and Tricks series, so I'll be sure to link that in the description box below if you haven't had a chance to check that out. Right now I'm putting in the cards, and really they're randomly from We Are Memory Keepers, and that's a grid card from Becky Higgins, and just randomness. I just mix whatever I think goes well together, and I play with it like that, and then I decide after that where I'm going to put the photos, what kind of photos I may use. It can periodically change while the layout's going around, and sometimes I even go back and change it after I'm done, certain aspects of it. So that's Project Life. It's whatever you want it to be, because it's your life. Get it? Do you see how I did that there? Anyway, right now I'm just kind of like playing around with the cards and the color scheme and how I'm thinking of doing things because, you know, as a crafter, I'm sure y'all are like this. I'm very indecisive at times, so I have to commit to a decision. I had already wanted to make that card a specific way. I had an idea in my head of it, so I went about doing that with incorporating some watercolors, and I'm using this nifty little watercolor tray to keep them in, and those are, I guess, tubed watercolors. I'm not sure what the specific name is for them, but I did pick them up at Joann's, and they're from the brand Reeves, and they're really good. And I'm just deciding what colors I want to use that will kind of like incorporate the rest of the colors that I have in my spread, you know. So if I don't have that much of, you know, yellow or pink or whatever, I just kind of want to maybe emphasize that more, as well as create a cool effect. And I'm just adding some water, a little close up there for y'all, and the white and the red together to kind of create my own custom color. And I'm sorry about the little noise you hear in the background. That's Daisy walking around like usual. Right now I'm just spreading the color around, and I wanted to have a real droplet effect with different sizes, some smaller, some being larger. I like that like messy kind of watercolory look to things. I always gravitate towards that when I'm even buying paper pads and things, so I wanted to create my own version, as y'all know. I'm also doing it with that pink, that red and white that I created. I'm creating another, basically the same thing, but with pink and green, and the color comes out pretty kind of opaque-y, and I really like the way it looks because it stands out and you can really tell. And I really recommend getting this type of container for your watercolors because it keeps them moist and you can go back and reuse it, so like I'm doing right now. And right now I'm just underlining the detail of that card. I printed that out on a printer, and I just wanted to emphasize the word detail with the same colors that I used on the background with the splattering effect I did. And then I decided that I really wanted some splatter effects on the card itself as well, because when I lay down the vellum on top of the splatter effects, you're not going to see it as prominently, so it's just going to be nice to bring out a little bit more. Not as much as I did in the background, but still enough that you can kind of like get the idea behind it. And I am using that vellum that I showed you guys that I made to kind of imitate that Dear Lizzie gold polka dot, and I just used my Viva gold rub and created my own dotted stencil and created that paper, and I love the way that it looks personally, so I decided to use that piece there that I created, and I'm just sticking it with some ATG type tape, but it's Duck brand, but I also use the Scotch ATG, but I just used whatever I had at hand at the moment because most of my stuff is put away because of the move, so I was improvising. That's another one of the cork embellishments that I created, using one of the die cuts and that big roll of cork that I have. And also, if you guys haven't checked it out, check out my cork video, because then you can learn how to make your own kind of cork embellishments, and I'll probably link that in the description box below as well if you guys are interested. So right now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm done with that card and I'm moving on to the next card. I already knew I really loved the colors in that card, but I wanted them to be a little bit more muted, so my go-to trick for muting down colors is always grabbing a little bit of white paint and just kind of dabbing my finger around the edges just to like make it a little bit more subtle, because I don't want anything that's going to stand out so much that it takes away from the actual photo or the rest of the layout. I want it all to be very like cohesive and meshy, if that makes any sense, throwing out all these words out there. But yeah, I really like the way it looks when I add white to it. It's something that I tend to do a lot. Now I'm just sticking down the photo because I like the way that that looks and it's completely dry, and deciding what other embellishments I want to add. And I saw this fun little label that I have from, it's not, yeah, My Mind's Eye. I wanted to say We Are Memory Keepers, but that's My Mind's Eye. But the card is We Are Memory Keepers, And I'm just cutting that off there, and I wanted to add like a little title to explain, because to me that's a special card, because I love Harry Potter and I actually got to go on the ride, so I was like, I need to make this, like, document this. So of course I decided to use my little Tim Holtz tiny letters, and please keep in mind that like most of my stuff is put away, so I'm kind of using whatever hasn't been put away, which I thought would be kind of a fun challenge, like using, like, improvising and not having to like go through my huge stash trying to decide what I should or shouldn't use. So I challenge you guys to try doing that. Just try challenging yourself in using just whatever you can at the moment. So it's not as daunting of a task to do Project Life. And I love the way that card turned out. And I put Hogwarts. And then I decided to move on to my next two cards. And I'm sorry if my head is a little in the way for a second there. I decided to add a little cork arrow, and I'm just cutting it down the middle. I was making a little mark so I know where to cut it at, so that it lines up and looks cool, because I love the way that half-cut embellishment looks. And then I just did some journaling with my precision pen, and I really like the way it came out. Instead of pulling out my typewriter, I just, you know, winged it, and then I used that stamp and embossed it with some Gold Recollections powder, because I knew I wanted to use it for this layout, because obviously I'm behind on my Project Life 2013, and I'm not going to really get to use that again, really. So I was like, let me use it now while I still have the chance to, because I really love the way that that looks. So I, again, went ahead and cut that in half, because I wanted half to be on my journaling card and half to be on the other one, because I just love the look of it, to be honest with you. So you just have to line it up ahead of time, and I just use a pencil to do that and cut where the marks are. And even though it slightly covers a little bit of my journaling, it doesn't cover it enough that it really bothers me. And now I'm doing a little stitching. That card, I really wanted to leave it alone because I love the simplicity of it, and like it's gray and there's so much going. I usually have so much going on in my spreads. I like to leave certain things really simple, so I decided I wanted to do stitching. So I decided, since I don't have my Amy Tan stitching templates, because those are all put away, I would just do this by hand. So the trick to this is making sure that the letters are big enough, because if it's too small, then you have to space your holes together tighter, and then you could end up ripping your paper. So make sure you leave enough basically width between the holes, that they're far apart enough that you're not going to end up basically creating a perforation on your paper where it just rips, because that has happened to me in the past, off camera obviously, but like when I'm doing random things. So that's something I've learned from when you're doing your own, you know, stitching templates really kind of help you get used to you not having to worry about that, but when you're doing it on your own, you need to definitely leave enough room. And now I'm just basically just erasing off all the little marks so that it looks perfectly done. Part 2 will be up shortly, you guys, but be sure to thumbs up and comment on these videos if you want me to keep doing them. Thanks for watching, y'all. Bye!